Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
Okay, so now we are going to discuss about the world of Kubernetes, right? World of Kubernetes. So Kubernetes will bring health, wealth, and happiness. So how Kubernetes will bring health? How can we build wealth after using Kubernetes? And how we can get happiness? If you really want to know health, wealth, and happiness benefit, health for you, employee, wealth for employers, organizations, and happiness for all of us. So if you really want to know, then you should focus on this session, and you should focus on these are the topics. What is Kubernetes? Kubernetes architecture, how Kubernetes works, installing Kubernetes, working with pods, working with the deployments, and many more. These are the things. Once you go through that, then you'll understand that health and wealth and happiness, how can you get it from Kubernetes. So let's get started. What is Kubernetes? So in order to define what is Kubernetes, we need to understand 4 questions. Where did it come from? What does it do? What does the name mean, and why do we have it? 4 questions and answer. If you do that, superb. So where did it come from? So Kubernetes is born in Google. Yeah, it got donated to CNCF in 2014 as part of open source initiative. This tool is written in Golang. Again, source code you can download from the GitHub. Their websites also is available, Slacks and Meetups channel. Okay, so it's a small introduction now, but where did it come from? So if you look at the root of Kubernetes, okay, then we see when we trace that root of Kubernetes, then we trace that a product which is called Borg and Omega. So what is the Borg and Omega? So it is a proprietary product of Google. So what exactly they're doing it? So you experience the Google infrastructure, Google application, Google searches, Gmail, and many other services. Have you seen that any downtime? It is highly available, highly scalable, secure platform, and all such a large vast amount of instance they must be running to serve all of your requests. Just imagine, just you can visualize that billions of people are connected to their services every second, right? Every minute, sorry. Yeah. So how that is happening, how those applications are highly available, highly scalable, and all that, on top of all that, all this is managed by few people, few engineers of their data centers. So how come it can be possible? So for that reason, now if you understand the power of Borg and Omega, because all this platform is running on the Borg, their platforms, and or Omega is a proprietary product. So you can understand the power of Borg, you can understand the power of Omega. So I'm not saying here is Kubernetes is the extension of Borg and Omega, but it's a DNA is matching, because Google is the same company who's having Bog and Omega and runs their huge infrastructure on it. And Kubernetes has something similar capability, and again, it's come from the Google. So we can say like the DNA is matching, but Kubernetes is open source minded here. Okay, so DNA is matching. It's not a next version of Omega or something like that. Okay, so this is the root. But in short, we call it KERTS. Okay, KERTS, Kubernetes, KERTS, Kubernetes, KERTS. Now, what is the meaning of this name actually? So basically, this has been chosen from the keyword which is called helpsman. It's a Greek word, and from there they have chosen this name. Now the question is why? What is what exactly the helpsman is doing? So the helpsman, we call it to the person, okay, the person, only one person is there, who steers a ship. Of course, you know that, right? In a shipping industry, the size of ships may be fishing boat, smallest one, and the size of fish may be ship may be uh, aircraft carrier, or maybe petroleum vessels, which can be a 600 meters long, 700 meters long. You know the size of it's like a tremendous size. You can just, I have not seen that such a large ship in my lifetime, but I can see, I can visualize in my mind actually 600 meters, 700 meters of ship size. It could be huge actually, right? So who's controlling that ship? Only one person. Only one person. So the size of ship, it could be fishing boat, smallest one or largest one, controlled by helmsman. So how that is related here in KERTS? So what I'm trying to say here is your data center may constitute of one node cluster, two node cluster, five node cluster, or 1,000 node cluster. Kubernetes can manage it. Kubernetes can handle it. Don't need to worry about it. Kubernetes can do it, everything. Whatever the directions which Kubernetes decide, everyone will have to do the same thing in a data center. So you don't have to get scared now anymore, because you're not doing anything here. Kubernetes is doing everything for you. Kubernetes is your helpsman for the ship. Kubernetes is your helpsman for your data center. Okay, so that's a definition, that's a meaning of Kubernetes. So you just visualize the power of Kubernetes. It can manage your data center. It can manage your production servers, servers which you may have running in maybe 20 servers, physical 20 virtual machine, 30 virtual machine, or thousands of virtual machines. Kubernetes has the capability to manage it alone. So that's a definition of Kubernetes. So yeah, in sum up, born in Google, donated to CNCF in 2014. Now those who have no idea about the CNCF, please spend some time to cncf.io website. You will love. So many products they have, so many products they have. Many has been developed. Many of these their products is developed under development, and it's one of the organization foundation which is developing and managing the next generation app. Okay, and Kubernetes is one of this. The license is Apache 2.0 open source. First release has happened in July 2015, written in Google and rest of the things. Okay, so now the question is, what is Kubernetes? We have understood. Any question so far? Any question on what is front? Any inputs you want to share? Okay. Okay, fine. I understood. Kubernetes has so many things, but why do we need it? Why do we need Kubernetes? Okay, Kubernetes can manage few keywords we have heard about it. Kubernetes can manage your cluster, data center, your production servers. Everything can be done by Kubernetes. Kubernetes is your helpman for your data center, but still I'm not very much convinced why do we need it. So Kubernetes is a solution for the two problem primarily. This is the problem. One of the problem which we have is container bring scalability challenges. Containers bring scalability challenges. Now, what is container? I think you know by now, and in fact, most of you were knowing about containers earlier also. So container has a problem. Containers has a problem in terms of what? Scalability, scaling the containers. If you want to scale the container, there's a challenges. There's a problem. There are problems. That's one of the reasons why we should go for Kubernetes. We'll discuss in detail in some time. And the second thing is we are starting to view the data center as a computer. What does that mean? Think in simple way. When you run a container in any virtual machines or physical machines, in your virtual machine and physical machines, you may have a multiple CPU added, attached, multiple RAM attached, multiple volumes attached. But still, Docker view number of CPU, number of RAM, number of storage as a one compute unit, don't you? It's a one compute unit, right? I am attaching multiple CPU, multiple RAM, multiple storage, and still that Docker view as a one compute unit. And then use those resources to create and power the containers, right? So something similar has to happen at the data center level. Mind it, I said something similar has to happen at the data center level. That means in a data center which is powered by thousands of node may have n number of CPU, n number of RAM, n number of storage. That should view as a one compute unit. That is what I'm talking about. Entire data center, the fundamental concept is entire data center should be viewed as a one compute unit. How can it be possible? Because of the container technology, we have to start the viewing the data center as a one computer unit, as a computer. So how can it be possible? So let's deep dive into that. First one, containers bring scalability challenges. Look at this, guys. Here, this is a simple image. So here I said in the last session, Docker manages your containers, correct? But Docker manages your image also. Docker manages your network also. Docker manages your volumes also, but in the same node. And same node which you have a multiple CPU, multiple RAM, multiple storage and stuff like that. So Docker manages your compute containers. Okay. Look at the architecture of Docker. You have a Docker client. I did discuss actually all this stuff. Quick discussions I had it. So Docker client talk to Docker host, Docker daemon, Docker server, whatever you want to call it. Then you Docker daemon download the images from the registry. Popular registry services is hub.docker.com, though there are so many. Images is there in your host machine, and from the images you get a container. How do you get a container? I have explained it to you. So from the one image you can get as many containers you wanted. So Docker host, Docker daemon, Docker server manages your container based on your instruction. No matter the host, you have a multiple CPU, multiple RAM, multiple storage, I don't care, but container and Docker view as a one compute unit irrespective of how many CPU, how many RAM you have it. It's not saying that, okay, this container I will run in this CPU and this container I will run with this CPU. No, it's a one compute unit. So this is the architecture. I'm sure you must be familiar with it. So the point which we were talking about is containers bring scalability challenge. What does that mean? So guys, think simple, very simple. You know that Docker manages your container. Docker manages your container in one host. But what about you want to run 15 containers as per the image? And one host, you can maximum run 3 containers. It's very simple, right? One host, you can maximum the maximum limit which you can run into 3 containers. And if you want to run 15 containers, what do you need to do? Simple, you will increase the number of hosts. Correct now? Are you okay with it?
Yes.
Simple. One host, you can run 3 containers with the help of Docker. If you want to run 15 containers, then what do you do? What you would be doing it? Increase the number of nodes. Simple. And that's what I did. But the problem I got it. See, here I scaled it, right? This call containers bring scalability challenges. Scale it from the one node to a multiple node. It may be 2 nodes, 3 nodes, 5 nodes, 5,000 nodes. It may be. But the major question is, who would manage multiple Docker host? That's a major question, because I told you Docker manages what? Containers in one host, but there are 5 hosts in my image. Who will manage all these 5 hosts? Because here, remember, you are not running a small one laptop, one VMs. You are running in a data center. You are running a container in a data center in the multiple host. You have to imagine that. You have to visualize that. You may have hundreds of nodes. Are you going to connect with each and every host and you're going to run the containers? No, we need a management capability. We need a orchestrating capability. If you want to hear one right word, right keyword, we need orchestrating capability. Using that, you can manage the Docker at the different host. So Docker control the container, but you can control the Docker at the multiple host. But who would do that? Who would manage multiple Docker host? That is the question. That is the question. Let's look at another question very carefully. And that's one of the reason I said you should know Docker very well, because Docker is at the dev level, Kubernetes is at the orchestration and production level. This image, if you look at it very carefully, I hope you remember, when you want to access the container from outside, from the VM or the host machine, then what you do? I hope you remember, you used to forward that port forwarding. You used to do that with a container using -p option. I hope you can remember. So if you want to access, mind it here, when you want to access a container from outside, you expose that container at certain port of the host machine. So if the load balancer wants to access your container, in that case also you have to expose the container at the host machine, because load balancer is outside. You look at the image, host 1, 2, 3, 4, but the load balancer is outside. But the problem here is the load balancer, which basically is getting exposed with the end user. Load balancer is having a rule. What rule? Load balancer can load balance the port which has to be same. Please hear me out clearly. You know the rule of load balancer, how this works. Load balancer has to have the same port of all the instance and the different IP address. So in that way, if I hear clearly, in that case, each node only I can expose the one host. I cannot run 2 Apache in the one host. I cannot run 2 MySQL. I cannot run 2 Tomcat. I cannot run 2 more than 3 MySQL or any applications. So what's the use of Docker? Then again, we are wasting the resources. Why we are migrating to the container technology? Remember, container technology we are migrating because of three major reason. You want to save the software running cost in the data center. You want to run the software fastest way within a second. And third one, you should save time so you can focus on the quality of the software, improve the quality of the software, because now we are offering a software as a service, software platform as a service. No, like you are installing the application in a physical machines or virtual machines. So the rule is very simple for the load balancer. Load balancer will balance the container if the ports are same, IP address may different, but if I follow that rule, I can only expose one port, one container at the host port. Other container will be wasted. So that way, it's not justifying the using containers technology. So the problem here is when we scale the container at the multi-host, what we want is our load balancer should access all Apache container. Mind it what I'm saying here. When we scale the containers technology at the multiple host, our load balancer should access the container in one host. All Apache should be accessible at the same port. How can that be possible? How can that be possible? With a Docker, it's not possible. So the question is how to load balance multiple container. Please read the statement. How to load balance multiple container running with the same port in one host. Very simple. Same port, but in a one host. That is a challenge. That is a challenge with the Docker. Because if you do not access, if load balancer is not accessing all the containers running in the same port in one host, then you cannot run 2 Apache, 3 Apache, 4 Apache in one host, and then it's a waste of the resources. That's one of the second problem you have. Now there is a one more problem. Imagine you are in a production, thousands of virtual machines are running. In each machines you are running containers. Wonderful. But suddenly some of the nodes is down. In this image, if I look at the example, 5 nodes are there, out of which 2 nodes got down. 2 nodes means 6 containers is down. So that means earlier your production servers were running on 15 containers. Suddenly it's become 9 containers. Almost 40% of the capacity has been reduced. So what will be the results of it? If you have a number of containers got reduced, and if you have the same traffic, your response time for the end user will be increased, which is not a good sign. In simple way, if I say your client will complain, website is very slow. So how do you deal with it? And I want to deal with it not in an hour, not in a day. I want to deal with it within a second. I repeat, in a second. I'm not going to call you operations team, L1 team, L2 team, L3 teams, production team, SRE team. SRE team, they will call dev team, QA team. Everyone is getting into the war room. I don't want the scenario. Or it, in simple way, what I'm trying to tell you here, it should automatically heal. Automatically heal. I want the 15 container. I should get 15 container at any given point of time. Who would take care of it? 2 nodes down, 6 containers down. I should get the 2 nodes. I should get remaining containers in a same remaining host or other nodes, other host. How can we get it? Because once you scale the container, these kind of challenges you may have. So question is very simple. We need 15 containers at any time, but 2 nodes is down. How do you auto heal remaining 6 container? Because if we do not get the 6 container within a second, my end user will have a bad experience with the response time, and that's not what we want. That will impact your sales. So guys, these are the problems which you have with the containers. Next statement which I stated here is we're starting to view the data center as a computer. Why? But because in a data center you may have a multiple CPU, multiple RAM, multiple storage, but you have to view as a one computer. Why? Because the containers, when you run the containers technology the data center, similar way the Docker view entire CPU, RAM and storage as the one compute unit. A tool, the new tool should see all the data center as a one compute unit, so it can run the container with the resources which is not used. It's not like filling only one machine. or 2 machines. It should fill equally in your data center. We need that particular tool, question mark. We need that particular tool. So the question is, who will do that, all the problems? Please look at this whole, the question is very simple. Who would manage multiple Docker host? When you love the container, when you want to bring the container technology at the operations level, production level, who would manage multiple Docker host? How to load balance multiple container running with the same port in one host? We need 15 containers at any time, but 2 nodes is down. How to do auto healing? And we need a tool which can view an entire data center as a computer. Who can do that? Kubernetes. Kubernetes can manage it. Kubernetes can do it. So now I've tried to help you with it. What is Kubernetes and why do we need it? I hope you get it. Any questions, any confusion? If you want to add some points, please specify, and then we'll move on.
This conference will now be recorded.
So guys, when you are in this session, you have to change your mindset also. Mindset and the way of thinking. So when you are playing with the Docker, then it's like a pet's business. You were playing with the Docker means you are playing with the containers, means you are playing with your pets. 1 or 2 container, 1 or 2 pets. You take care of your pets, you feed them, you play with them. If something goes wrong, you take them to the doctor, you just do all this stuff. You give a special attention to the pet. Same way you used to give the special attention to the container also. Remember, you used to create a container, start the container. You wanted to get inside a container using exec. You wanted to access the container from outside using IP address, port forwarding, all this, that, and all. You used to stop it. You used to troubleshoot. You used to see the logs of the container. Do you remember all these things? You used to do that, right? So it's like a pet's mindset. But you have to higher up your level of thinking. No, you are not doing the pet's business anymore. You are the business owner of cattle. You are the business owner of something where you manage the cattle. So what is your objective when you are, let's say you're a business owner of some cattle farm? So what is your objective? So your objective is very simple. Deliver 100 liters of milk to your client every day. Let's say if some of your cattle is not performing well in a farm, would you say to your client, hey, my cattle is not doing well, he's not good, I cannot deliver the 100 liters of milk today. Let me fix the cattle. Let him come back to the healthy stage. Let him deliver it, and then we'll deliver the 100 liters of milk. Would you say that to your client? No. What you would do? You would immediately replace the cattle with the working cattle. I mean, those cattle who's functioning can deliver the milk, and you will, at any cost, you will deliver the milk of 100 liters. Let me tell you here, even though if you have an overproduction, you will deliver only 100 liters of milk, not more than that. Not 99, not 100 liters, because your client is asking 100 liters only. So it's a kind of mindset of business owner, correct? So something similar mindset you need to have, you need to build in Kubernetes also. Something similar mindset you have to build in a Kubernetes also. What kind of mindset? Remember, you are running a production servers. You have thousands of nodes. Each nodes you have a hell lot of containers. If some of the nodes is not working well, no problem.
To watch our complete session, enroll for our premium membership. Click onto the join button and enroll yourself with the best suited option.
I will not go and troubleshoot. I will not try to dig out the deep into it. Immediately replace that particular node who's not performing to the new node, or maybe some of the containers got offline because of some reason. I will replace that container in another host. At any cost, in a production, if the desire is to run thousands of container, it should be thousands of container, not 999 or not 1001. It should be 1000 at any given point of time to entertain the traffic. This kind of mindset you should be having it. So okay, fine, you build the mindset, but who's going to take care of this replacement of nodes, fulfilling your desire, matching your desire? Not you. Who will do that? Kubernetes. Yes, I repeat, Kubernetes will take care of to matching your desire and helping you to build your business. Not you will do that all stuff. Kubernetes will do that on behalf of you. So if you say Kubernetes, hey Kubernetes, I give me 100 containers all the time. Kubernetes will give you 100 containers all the time, not 99, not 101, 100 containers. How this will give you, don't worry about it. We will get to know in architecture discussion. If you say, hey Kubernetes, I want you to scale the containers, number of containers based on the CPU utilization with certain rules, Kubernetes will do that. If you say, hey Kubernetes, you can scale down the number of containers because of the utilization is not so high based on some CPU and based on RAM and this, that, and all, Kubernetes will do that. So what I'm trying to say here is whatever you ask a Kubernetes, they will fulfill your desire. You should just know how to ask. Kubernetes is your genie in your production server. It will run everything for you. And that's the reason, remember, I used to tell Kubernetes will provide you the happiness, wealth, and health, all this thing. So you can imagine how much work Kubernetes will do that. So yes, you have to have a change in your mindset, pets versus cattle. Okay, so when you are learning Kubernetes, main objective to run, mind it, is very important statement here. When you are learning Kubernetes, main objective to run thousands of containers in a cluster. If some container is not working because of some reason of the node or any other reasons, replace with a new container, and to make sure actual number of container must match with the desired number of container. Whatever you desire, you should always match, and that will be taken care of by Kubernetes. So what is Kubernetes? Kubernetes is a container orchestrator. If you want to hear one word, one definition, so it's a container orchestrator. It can orchestrate the container at the multi-node cluster, manage the container in the multi-node cluster through that capability. Kubernetes is also workload placement. What is a workload placement? Remember, here in the cluster you have 20 nodes, and each node should get equal amount of work. Work means what? Running a containers. It's not like one node will get 10 containers to run and another node of your cluster will get only one container to run. Who is going to place the work equally? Divide the work equally. Kubernetes will take care of you. Care of it. You don't have to take care of it. Kubernetes is also an infrastructure abstraction. That means the complexity beneath it, it will hide it, and you will not see the complexity outside. It just works. Simple. And Kubernetes will help you to match the desired state. Whatever you say, hey Kubernetes, do this, and Kubernetes will do that, and always to make sure that it will be always at that state. How? That's the job of the Kubernetes in the production. Kubernetes has a self-healing functionality. If some of the containers got offline because of some reason, I don't know, automatically it will heal. Replace the container. The same thing I was talking about, the pets versus cattle. Self-healing. Kubernetes can help you to automated rollback without a second of downtime, millisecond of downtime. Kubernetes help you for automatic scaling also. Kubernetes will help you for load balancing also, and many other features which you have in Kubernetes. What are the benefits of Kubernetes? Speed of deployment. Speed of deployment, how does that matter? See here, big billion sales, Flipkart. We all are from India, so let's talk about the Flipkart. Just before the big billion sales get started, I mean, let's say it's starting from 12 o'clock, and you know that the number of instance which should be available before 12 o'clock and after the 12 o'clock is a huge difference, because the traffic will be multiplied by 20x. Traffic on Flipkart during the big billion sales will be multiplied by 20x. What does that mean? You have to increase the servers, you have to increase the number of apps by 20 times within a few seconds. So how can you deploy large number of instances with a lesser span of time? How can you do that? Kubernetes will help you with it. You will see the power of it in some time. So speed of deployment, within a seconds, you can deploy from one instance of your application to 10,000 of instance. Yes, that's possible with a Kubernetes. Ability to observe changes quickly. What does that mean? See, you want to do the upgrade all the time, releases, patches, hot fixes. So thousands of instance, thousands of your application is running, and within a second, everything should be upgraded. Within a millisecond, everything should be upgraded, and without having even a single second of downtime. How can it be possible? Kubernetes will do that for you. You will experience that, all these features yourself. Rollback, ability to recover quickly. That means you want to roll back from the new version, you want to go back to the old version within a second, without even a single second of downtime. So how can you do that? Kubernetes will help you that. And Kubernetes will hide all the complexity in the cluster itself and will give you all the features efficiently. Kubernetes also help you to for storage orchestration. Yep. Or storage orchestration. Kubernetes, I repeat, Kubernetes is a platform, can help you with the storage orchestration. Kubernetes will help you with the secret and configuration management. Kubernetes will help you in terms of automatic bin packing. Kubernetes will help you with the self-healing. Kubernetes will help you for automatic rollout and rollback. Kubernetes will help you for the service discovery, and Kubernetes will help you for the load balancing. So many features we have. So we just started this scratching the surface of Kubernetes. So yes, it will help you in terms of enhancing productivity for your SDL, your team, software development team. Deployments are faster and simpler, lower overhead on the CPU and RAM, improvement in terms of security, increase in portability. That means the portability means if you want to set up a dev environment, seconds. Same environment you want to replicate in a QA environment in a seconds. Same things you want to replicate in the production environment in a second. That's called portability. Things can run anywhere. Immutability. Okay. Immutability. So any platform you can run it. For example, are you running the application in the VMware now? Same applications you can run in the AWS within a second. After the same application you can run in the Azure. After that, again, same application you can run in your physical machines or virtual machines, whatever it is. Immutability. So these are the benefit of Kubernetes. So on top of that, guys, Kubernetes is moving fast. So the best way is to be with this technology is to be always keep upgrading yourself with the new things which is happening around the Kubernetes. So that way you will be getting into that. So now we have understood what is Kubernetes, why do we need Kubernetes, what are the advantages of the Kubernetes, what are the features of Kubernetes. All these things we have understood. But I am curious right now is like how basically it works, because I want to know what is the architecture of it, how it works, so it can give so much of feature, so much of flexibility, so much of advantages in the production server. How can it be possible? What is the architecture of Kubernetes? So we'll understand this in some time.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.